Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, the best kept secret in all of college football. Today, just hoping to shed some light and maybe provide a little clarity on the plans and the structure of this upcoming college football season. And I know we probably sound like a broken record, and you all are probably tired of us releasing videos like this. A few weeks ago, we were talking about the non-conference games being canceled. A few days ago, we were talking about the ACC and their new format. And now we're back talking about the rest of the conferences and some of their new formats that we will be following for this 2020 season. So hopefully this will be our last video unless there's some major news that comes out in the following weeks. But we wanted to take the time to kind of show you what we know as of right now, and also, of course, let you know how we're going to proceed over these following weeks as we get closer and closer to this college football season. So the first thing that we do want to address is that, of course, if you've been following our predictions, you know that we have one conference left, one Power 5 conference left, and that, of course, is the Pac-12. So Pac-12 predictions will begin tomorrow, guys. Pac-12 predictions will begin tomorrow afternoon, but we filmed all those before the Pac-12 kind of released their updated schedule, and we make sure to put that in there. So we're going to run through the predictions as normal. That's going to include non-conference games. At that point, we knew they were canceled, but we still reflect those wins and losses in our final records. But when it's time to do our Pac-12 conference recap, when it's time to recap our records and our standings, we will use the Pac-12's new format with those records. So we're going to redo our predictions for the Pac-12 with our season recap, just like we'll do with all the other conferences as we get more clarity, as we get more analysis and details on their schedules, on their dates, on their opponents, and everything like that. So I say this, and I know you're getting tired of it, but I say this because I know we're going to get a lot of questions about it. I know people are going to say, well, that's not their schedule anymore. They've changed it. We know that. We know that. But we still want you to get that analysis, that game-by-game analysis, the conference games, of course, mattering the most. But when it's all said and done, at the end of the Pac-12, we will have their updated records at the end of their predictions. And we'll continue to go forward with the rest of the conferences. Today, we just want to take a look at what we do know, and we'll start up here with the ACC. And of course, if you're confused by this, or it's been so much coming out that you haven't been able to follow all of it, we hope that this kind of sheds some light on it. We hope that this makes it a little more clear for you guys as we get closer and closer to the end of August, which is when the season was originally supposed to begin, with week 0 on August 29th. Of course, that may not happen anymore. And we do take a look here. We know the ACC, which we made a video about this, the ACC has switched to a 10-conference game schedule plus 1 non-conference game. So they're going to play an 11-game season here, guys, 10 conference games plus 1 non-conference game, and that slate is scheduled to begin the week of September 12th. So that would have originally been week 2 of the college football season, and that is the ACC's plan as of right now. Of course, we know that Notre Dame is now going to be a member of the ACC. We know that the ACC is not going to have divisions. It's going to be all 15 teams kind of lumped together. The top 2 teams will play for the ACC title. So that is the ACC's plan as of right now, and they are going to be the first teams we will get to watch in college football as of right now, depending on what happens with the rest of the conferences. Below them, we have the SEC, and I think that was the biggest conference that everybody wanted to know about, because SEC is always touted as the best conference in all of college football. They lead college football. So what were they going to do? Because it hits different in the South, guys. So if the SEC did something so drastic and so different, something crazy that might just work, maybe the other conferences would follow. But the SEC decided to take the follower approach instead of the leader approach, and they decided to kind of side just like the ACC and the Pac-12 here, going with just a 10-game conference-only schedule. So the SEC will play 10 games only within their conference. An updated schedule for that should come out later this week. Many people thought that they would just take the rotating cross-division games over the next 2 years, and that would be the updated schedule. And the SEC, that's not going to happen. They're going to kind of go through and remake the schedules based on strength of schedule, so that way you don't have a team like Alabama, arguably the best team in the West, getting to play teams like Vanderbilt and South Carolina. Maybe Alabama now will have to play Georgia like they originally planned, and maybe they'll play a team like Florida. They're going to make it to where it's a little bit more fair. Based on strength of schedule, based on how good a team is going into this season. So that is the SEC's plan as of right now. They are scheduled to start play on September 26th, along with the Pac-12, who's the exact same as the SEC, guys. The Pac-12 going to do 10 conference games, scheduled to begin on September 26th. And of course, they will have their conference championship not played in Las Vegas as originally planned, but it will be on site. It will be an on-campus game. So for example, if Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12, best overall record, the Pac-12 championship game will be played at Oregon and not at a neutral site. So that is the plan for the Pac-12 as of right now. Remember, we will have their predictions beginning tomorrow. When Pac-12 predictions are over, the Pac-12 conference recap will reflect this 10-game conference slate. Those will be the records reflected in the recap, not the records you see in our prediction videos. I know it's a little confusing, but you'll understand as we get closer to that time. So that is the Pac-12's plan as of right now. So we have 3 Power 5 conferences that have kind of gotten their crap together and have tried to find a way to have college football in 2020. The rest of the conferences are still trying to work it out. The Big 12 is the closest, I think, to finally getting another plan in place out of the other couple remaining. The Big 12 should have a decision in place by tomorrow, guys. It's looking more and more likely that the Big 12 will go with a potential 9 conference games plus the 1 non-conference game, so very similar to what the ACC is trying to do. There's also rumors that the Big 12 might go with the 9 conference games and try to play as many non-conference games as you can, whether that be against FCS opponents if they're available, Group of 5 opponents if they're available, or maybe you try to schedule a few ACC teams in there as well, even though the ACC game must be played in the state of that program. So it must be an ACC team state that they play the non-conference game in. Who knows? But what we do know is that the Big 12 more than likely will not do just a 9-game conference-only slate. That would be a major disadvantage to the Big 12, and that is something that all of the athletic directors and the Big 12 commissioner has said they really want to avoid. So the Big 12 will at least play 10 games, which will keep them in that range with the other Power 5 conferences, and will keep them at that competitive level with the other Power 5 conferences. We should know a decision from the Big 12 by Monday, Wednesday at the latest. The Big 10 is the conference that still remains up in the air, guys. They are undecided still. There's even rumors going around that the Big 10 might not play football at all in 2020. Now, I have a very hard time believing that. I have a very hard time believing that the Big 10 would not play college football if the other 4 Power 5 conferences do find a way to play. But they are saying that the Big 10 could begin play on September 5th, which would be week 1. But they're going to allow for 3 to 5 bye weeks for each team, just in case a team does have an outbreak and they need a quarantine for 10 to 14 days. So the Big 10 still up in the air right now. More than likely, they will go to a 10-game conference-only slate just to follow the rest of the Power 5 teams. But they are undecided, and I think they are the worst-shaped Power 5 conference when it comes to decision-making as of right now. Big 12 seems very close. 3 others have their decisions in place. The Big 10 is the one that's still up in the air and that we're really anxious to hear about. So that's kind of what we know, guys. At the earliest, we're going to have football by September 12th. Maybe it could be earlier. And if you're going to get earlier football, it's probably going to come within the Group of 5 here, guys. And we kind of labeled it here, Group of 5. They're in discussions, and it varies from conference to conference. Because if you've looked at the AAC, the American Athletic, if you've looked at the Conference USA, they have both come out and said they're going to play 8 conference games. That's going to happen. But they also might allow for their programs to play as many non-conference games as they can schedule. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. Who knows? I don't understand that. I think every team should have to play the same amount of games. I think that's the only way to make it fair. And maybe they do put a limit on that. Maybe they do find a little more structure there. Because scheduling, of course, now has become very, very difficult for every college football program at any sort of level. So I don't know how the Group of 5 is going to handle that right now, but we do know that the Conference USA and the American Athletic will at least play all 8 conference games. We do know that the highest ranked Group of 5 conference champion will still make a New Year's 6 bowl game, assuming we do have bowl games by season's end. But the remaining Group of 5 conferences, your Mountain West and your Sun Belt and your MAC, we don't know yet. We're still waiting on word from them. So that's going to be very interesting here, and you might see a couple of those schools try to arrange games against maybe an ACC opponent or a Big 12 opponent as more details and more plans continue to develop. So guys, I really genuinely hope this helps a little bit. We know that we are more than likely going to have football here in about a month or so. Just about a month, give or take, we are going to have football again. And that is something that just a few weeks ago, maybe even as much as a month ago, we maybe didn't think was possible. So we are trending in the right direction. And it might not be the season that we wanted it to be. It might not be the season that we pictured it would be. But again, as we've said since the beginning, any football is better than no football at all. So here's what we know as of right now. More details, more plans will come out down the road. We might not come out with videos for those. We will be tweeting about it. We will give you all the news that you need, whether it's here or on our social media pages. But regardless, as we've said before, we've got you covered right here at the Gridiron Expert. 24/7, 365 college football content around the clock. Regardless of what happens within all these conferences, we will not miss a beat. We will not stop any content right here on our channel. So once again, guys, hope this helps. Hope that clears up any confusion. We know we're having football soon. It's just going to be a matter of how exactly it's going to be structured. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Plenty of more conference updates and prediction updates coming your way very, very soon. So make sure to keep your eyes out for that. The Pac-12 predictions do start tomorrow. And once again, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.